Who's gonna win?
Yeah, you
It's
will.
a race. Who's
You
gonna
will
win?
get a broken ankle.
You won. Oh, they're sharing.
Now this just warms my heart. I talked Kate into taking a ride with me here today. We're spending some time together and we're hanging out with, of course, Sam Pascucci from the giant tortoise farm here. Sam, what's up, man? Good to see you, buddy.
Good to see you, Ken.
Good to hang out with
Always
you.
great
And
to see you.
oh yeah, it's always fun to get abused by Sam.
We have a lot of fun.
We do have a lot of fun.
Sorry, I do abuse him. He brings out the worst in me. I don't know what it is.
It's the Long Island
kind of like
connection. Yeah, there's a lot of sarcasm floating around, but I love it. We're just hanging out. You know, we haven't seen each other in a little while. I like to get over here. Of course, we're visiting with all the beautiful animals that are here on the farm. All right, there's the professor right there. They've got a beautiful mud wallow. That makes them so happy. We've had a lot of rain. But I'm over here right now, guys. We're hanging out with the Aldabra tortoises. It's just an impressive animal. Of course, there are two giant species of tortoise on Earth. Kate is feeding, what's this one's name? Tank. Okay, Tank. Yeah, very cool. And it's awesome, man. Like I said, it's fun to see Kate kind of hanging out here and enjoying some of these animals. And it's one of those things I can't wait for Nostradamus to get bigger, because it's just, you know, we were just talking about it. There's a sense of pride and amazement that you, after 40, 50 years working with these animals, you've never lost.
It never lost. I come out in the backyard and it's still new to me. It's still exciting. It's still exciting to see them walk by after all this time, you know, and you think, you know, and look, I have dogs, I have cats, I love those animals. There's still something different about these animals, you know?
Right.
I mean, they don't sleep in the bed like my cat.
Right,
But-
it would hurt a little bit if they did.
Oh, get this one here.
Oh, look who that is. Oh my God. That is an incredibly beautiful formed shell, Sam. Is this another one you raised up?
Yeah. Oh, here comes another one.
Holy smokes, they're flying out of that house. People think the tortoises are slow.
Yeah.
That's not the case. Look at you. What's your name?
His name is Cecil.
Cecil. Oh my God, we have a Circe that you gave us. We got a tortoise named Circe, and look at this, guys, just like Nostradamus. They love when you scratch their neck. Kate's gonna bring over a little romaine just to kind of attend.
Oh, he doesn't like it?
No, once you scratch it, he won't eat.
Oh, okay, let's stop scratching them then.
So you'd have to wait a while.
Oh no.
Oh, he's in a trance?
Oh my God.
You rub his shell and scratch it.
Oh my God, look at this.
Yeah. Did you ever see a tortoise like that?
You know, Nostradamus is very similar. He lets me scratch them. That's why I came to love the Aldabras, because they're a little bit more social, as you mentioned earlier today before we started filming.
Like dogs.
Yeah, they're just, they see me, they want to come over and see what I'm doing. So it's really impressive. And right now, this is like their kind of holding area, right?
Yeah. This is our winter area.
Okay.
And they're here because it has the most shade.
Okay.
And they like these mud holes. So this is where they spend, especially like the hot part of the day.
Oh, in the mud hole.
They'll
Yeah.
just chill out here. They'll chill out in the mud hole. Look at him. Look how he's still
He's
floating.
still tranced.
And did you notice something? Look how smooth his shell is.
That's what I noticed immediately
When it
upon
rains,
him.
there's a reflection in it.
Is it real? It's like you polished him
It's
up.
like it, but we didn't, you know.
But that's incredible.
Yeah.
So this was an animal you raised up.
Yeah. Yeah, he's 36.
36 years old.
From a hatchling.
So much life left in these animals.
Yeah,
And
they're just getting started.
now, here's an interesting thing. You know, when a lot of people, a layperson, when they see a giant tortoise, they don't necessarily know the difference between the Aldabra and the Galop. But
Yeah.
when you look at an Aldabra, you can see the head.
It's all in the head.
Right. Much more narrow here.
I have a video actually on my YouTube channel. The differences between the Aldabras and Galops and how to tell the difference. I mean,
Cool.
It's a lot of people look at the shell. It's not the shell. You know, it's the shape of the head.
Right.
And of course, Aldabras have this rounded nose. This
Yeah.
rounded nose comes to a point because they drink water from these crevices, and that's why they have come to a little bit of a pointy nose. The Galop doesn't do that.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So you always just look right here, and their nose comes to a point, and you know you have an Aldabra.
Yeah, that's cool.
Don't look there.
Now, so the nuchal scoot doesn't really tell you.
No, the nuchal scoot don't tell, because if we come over here to the tank.
Let's see. Look at that. Tank.
Tank.
Right here. Whoa. I see him. Holy smokes, Tank doesn't have a nuchal.
No.
That's incredible.
Yeah, man.
You know, that's news to me too, because I've heard it, but I've never actually seen
Oliver,
it. Yeah.
look how big that scute is.
Yeah, so
He's,
that's
he's a
interesting.
little pissed. Watch out.
Oh boy, Oliver.
He's a little pissed.
All right, yeah, he's.
You got to get on your bicycle.
I got to get the hell
Canada.
out of here. But believe it or not, these guys could hurt you if you do
Oh,
get,
my God.
if you are unlucky enough to get caught between them. They could break a bone. They're incredibly strong. He wants more food. Let's have a look underneath here. Mario's just hanging out with. Oh gosh, I forgot his name. Cecil, yeah. But yeah, look at that tail. That's a large male tail there. See that? So that is incredible, man. And about how long before they're sexually dimorphic? It's a size thing, right? Wouldn't you say about 200 pounds is generally
I
when
don't
you
think
get
about it in pounds. You know,
Okay.
I think about it in size. So,
Okay.
usually it's around 9 years old. and
Okay.
Up around 20, 22 inches
Wow.
is when you. Now some animals you can tell earlier.
Okay.
It's just that they develop earlier.
They sometimes, for me, for Nostradamus, he showed me earlier.
Yeah.
On. He showed me at
So,
a
yeah.
penis. So
Yeah.
look at that shirt, guys. Look at this guy. He's on his own T-shirt.
I thought you were focusing on my stomach.
No,
like
the shirt. That's a
We
nice,
gotta get
bright,
one.
beautiful shirt. But no, this is cool, man. So all these tortoises have been with Sam for many, many years, and
Not all of them. There's 2 more females roaming around here somewhere.
really.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. Well, no, that's a sulcata. There's one gal there.
We got one in there. Yeah, I think there's one more in the main yard.
Gotcha.
We head up there. We'll see her.
Wow, that's so cool. I don't know. I just love coming over here to see real big aldabs and galops, and I think it's important that people see that. But you know, you also have some other things that we need to discuss, and we're going to do that here today in this video. You're going to get a lot of good info because not everyone, as I found out, I recently helped a neighbor whom I never met who had an Aldabra tortoise, has 2.
Yeah.
One of them was not doing
An
well.
incredible story.
Yeah, so I went over there, never had met the people. They were actually away, and I got the animal to the vet. Now, here's the deal. Got this animal loaded up into a van with some of the people's friends. We went to Dr. Mike Gillen, but unfortunately, Dr. Mike, there wasn't much he could do because the animal was so big.
Yeah, you
So-
gotta have a facility.
Right, so I want to learn from you a few things that maybe budding giant tortoise keepers, or even just any tortoise
Yeah.
keeper. Here are some first aid materials that
Yeah.
you're going to need.
I don't like to call it first aid.
What do you call
Because
it?
first aid to me means band-aid. I
Okay.
call it medical intervention.
Okay, cool.
That's where you have a situation where you've got to act now, there's been a trauma, something is wrong, and sometimes you have to act before you even get to the vet because it's not going to last
Okay.
the time you get to the vet. So I've kind of prepared a little something, and we'll take a look at that.
All right, well, we're going to head over there right now. See you guys in a minute.
Thank you to all our loyal Patreon members out there who have helped to create an amazing reptile community online with us. This week's shout out goes to Nathan Thurall.
All right, Sam, so you've got a bevy of supplies here that you think is terribly important for people when they have animals.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a big believer in being prepared.
Oh, man.
So I don't like to call it first aid. I call it medical intervention because, God, we know when things go wrong. When does it go wrong? Late on a Friday night, on a holiday weekend, you can't get a hold of your vet. Plus, also, you know, I have a big reach, just like Kenan, and there are a lot of folks that deal with me all the time. They're in South America, they're in China, they're in Central America. There is no going to a vet.
Right.
What do you do? How do you prepare? You know, to if something happens, and what are the things that happen? So a lot of times is animals fight, they get injuries.
Guapo and Petra
Yeah,
recently.
exactly.
Yeah.
So you know what we do. Sports wrap. Keep sports wrap around because you can dress those wounds. Another thing that we use is honey. We use sugar. There's some sugar here somewhere.
Yeah, and it's
sugar,
a
honey.
disinfectant, right?
It's yes, it's a anti like an antibiotic.
Okay, cool.
It prevents. It doesn't allow oxygen to the bacteria starve from oxygen deprivation.
Okay.
The sugar sucks all the oxygen out, and the bacteria can't grow. And then as it melts, just like honey, the sugar melts. It actually makes a scab.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So then everything, that's a healing from the inside out.
Very
So wrap it up, sugar, honey, they work really well. The other thing that we have here is you got to have hydrogen peroxide. We have chlorhexidine for disinfecting.
Okay.
We have betadine. Is that betadine? No, that's scarlet oil. That's an antifungal.
But
for using
diluted
treatment.
betadine, also you're going to want to use...
Right here.
There you go.
Betadine.
And I see that you have like, you know, sterile water to irrigate maybe and
Yeah.
start to clean things.
Right.
Spray bottles are very important.
Yeah.
What do you got? Alcohol, of course.
Right.
Paper towels. What is this though?
Yeah, that is a that's what we call it's a bag. It's a respiratory bag.
Oh wow.
So what happens is if that animal collapses and is not breathing, what do we do to get it breathing again? So we have a bag, just like we do in people. This is an artificial respiration, and then we have all these different size tubes
That you can put in
that
the nares.
fits in not in theirs, into the trach.
Oh wow! Right.
They go right
into
into the trach. And
Holy
so when I'm
smokes.
sitting here doing this, you actually watch that animal and they're breathing. You're breathing for them.
Well,
So-
you know, I have. Let me show you what I have, guys. I have Kate, who actually did mouth to mouth on Darwin when she got her
I
neck.
know. Where was this
Yeah.
bag when
Yeah, I know. I
needed
could
it.
have used that.
Yeah.
That's
And
important.
okay, so what happens there? It's an injury. They flip over. They get stuck in the heat. They get stuck in the cold. Whether they drowned. I've
Right.
used it for when they drowned. And actually, you know, I discuss in detail a lot of my videos. I hope you can put them down in the links maybe
Absolutely,
below.
we'll link to
where
it.
I go through each thing and how to use it and when I've actually used it. How to save your baby dying tortoises and everything. It's all in there.
Hey, how about this, guys? A microscope, very important. You've actually been the guy. I have a microscope at home because of you,
Yeah.
and I'm able to check the animal's stools.
Yeah, exactly. And that way you know if you have parasites. That's part of being prepared, knowing if you have parasites or not. It's one of the things that go wrong with them. The other thing I have here, this is an oxygen generator. So when I have these little baby tortoises that get sick, I actually set up like a little cup or a little box, and I run the hose in there, and then I'll actually put in there enriched oxygen, so I can put in there 50, 70%.
Wow.
And so that helps a lot when you have an animal that's compromised, it's not breathing the way that it's supposed to be breathing. So an oxygen generator, a bag, to bag them down, to have their own respiration.
Of course, you know, you learned a lot of this from Dr. Funk, who passed away
Yes.
not too long
Yeah.
ago. So these are things that were recommended by an actual vet, and just because you
Right.
keep these animals for how long you've kept them,
Yeah.
no one really knew. You were kind of on the forefront working with veterinarians.
Yeah, so long ago.
Yeah, like no one knew back
Yeah.
then how to care for a giant tortoise.
Well, that was what the allure was for some of those vets like Dr. Funk was, where could you go to get a giant collection of galops or labras and be able to do the different, you know, medical testing or knowledge that we had, because at the time we were doing some of the testing for DNA, so we were drawing blood and stuff
Right.
like that. So
I remember that.
it was a real opportunity when something, when, you know, to learn from Dr. Funk,
What to do, and
yeah.
in which case, of course, syringes. We've got vials for blood if you want to
Yes,
take blood
exactly.
samples and send them out.
Yeah.
These are all very
Here's the
important diagnostics.
Here's the big one. Ringers. You ever see anybody go in a hospital, the first thing they do is they hook up the bag.
Yep.
Hydration. Here we have getting respiration, improving with oxygen, and hydration. Hydration is the most important thing. Even if you have an animal injured, it needs to be hydrated, because what happens is they go into volemic shock where their blood pools into their extremities. So now their blood pressure is down, and so that's when they're going to go into respiratory stress.
Okay.
Distress. So
Very interesting.
hydration, you increase the blood volume, more blood gets pumped around,
More oxygen
more
everywhere.
likely to be survived, more oxygen moving around.
That's amazing.
Very,
man.
very important. You need the right syringes to put that. You need to
course.
know how to put that stuff sub-Q.
Yeah, we also need tube feeding apparatus. These go on the end of syringes, and you're able to put these down into the
and
animal's
I keep
stomach.
all these different sizes.
Wow, look at that.
And
what
the other-
about this, though?
Yeah,
What's-
what about these kitchen
Yeah,
tools
look at
here?
this.
Well,
Kitchen
this
tools.
here is something I invented just about 40 years
Oh,
ago.
I remember
Oh,
that.
And I call it a jaw bar.
Yes.
Because this is the secret to getting inside a tortoise's mouth. Takes a little bit of skill, but you put that lip in there, you're able to get in their mouth, you twist it a little bit, and once you're able to get their mouth open, depending on the size tortoise that you have to select the right size feeding tube. And there are some other feeding tubes here, which we have for tortoises. Here.
Which are, yes, they're metal.
Right. So here we can go, and the way you tell is halfway down their shell. That's where their stomach is.
Wow.
Halfway down their shell.
That's incredible, man.
And
That's a
we
lot of
use
work.
this in iguanas. When we get their iguanas, we don't use this. This is a tortoise tool. We use this for lizards and iguanas because you don't want to break their teeth.
Okay.
And once you get it open, you can't put this tube inside there because they'll chew through that tube. So we put a piece of garden hose in there. And when they
Excellent.
dike out, and then we just go through here.
Awesome.
You put your
Ingenious.
medications. You got to be careful the size of the animal you're dealing with because they can bite this off.
And you don't want them to swallow.
And you don't want them to swallow that.
Gotcha.
Exactly.
And then, of course, you know, since we're talking about tube feeding, you got critical care, which
Yeah,
is a
you gotta have-
fantastic mix. This is a
Exactly.
liquid food. You mix it up. It's in a powder. You can buy
Right.
this usually at veterinarians or really good tractor supply places that have livestock, things like that. Make sure that you get the proper critical care for the type of animal you're feeding. This is a herbivore diet. They have a carnivore diet as well.
Yeah. So back to wound care, we
Yep.
use these, which is great. These are betadine scrubs.
Oh, okay. You just open
It's
it.
a little sterile
sponge.
betadine scrub. Mario, do we have one out of the bag?
We do not.
Okay.
Well, you get the picture, guys. It's a
Yeah.
sponge that's infused with betadine.
Right.
You can just scrub down your
Right,
animal and
right.
disinfect.
So this is sterile. So then also we have medical tape. But
Yep.
check out when you're working with baby tortoises. Check
my
out the
gosh.
size
Those tubes.
of these feeding tubes that I use.
Holy smokes.
You've got to
So
be
you
able
are
to.
highly specialized.
You got to be able to get inside there.
Yeah, you got a gram scale, you got a pound scale, you've got ring camera just to keep an eye on your animals,
Right.
which is what a lot of us use.
Right. Dremel
very-
tools. You got to trim beaks, cut nails.
Yeah. What about the WD-40 when they're squeaky?
WD-40?
Oh, that's the secret.
Ah, that fixes everything, WD-40. You guys know that. Okay.
Here's a big one.
Loctite? Now, what's that all about?
No, what the heck?
Is
No,
that-
crazy glue. Here it is.
Oh, crazy glue. Okay, yeah.
Everybody should use crazy glue.
Yeah.
So-
Like they even make a wound glue, things like that.
You got to be careful because you can't close that wound up like in your animal. Has to be closed. It has to heal from the inside out, especially puncture wounds. So that's only when if you get a superficial bite and you want to close up that wound, and you want to do it when it happens immediately. You can't do it the next day.
Right,
That's
okay.
what we call first intention. First
Okay.
intention is when it happens and we put the skin back together. Second intention is happens later on and you clean the wound out. That's not going to heal as fast and you can't glue that type of wound.
It's amazing.
And that's when you go back to the sugar and the honey. And I actually have some videos where I show the sugar and the honey on this iguana that has a mangled leg. I'll put the link in below.
Description below.
And you can see the way that honey over time deals with that wound. And one of the other ways I like about the sugar is once I clean that out and I wrap it with sugar, I don't open that wound for 3 weeks, 4 weeks. I don't do what you're doing now, where you're constantly going in there and flushing, constantly going in there and flushing. And I detect how that wound is doing simply by smell.
Okay.
If it smells good, we're good. I don't want to open up a sugar wound every day or every few days because you're tearing apart the healing, the new tissue that's growing there. So
Very
if you
important.
use sugar, you got to use your nose, you got to smell. That's the way to do it. Tape, don't forget tape.
Okay.
A couple different types of tape.
We got duct tape.
We got duct tape now. On giant tortoises, I've used this and gauze sometimes to treat an area of the shell that may have been scratched or whatever, and you want to keep it clean. What do I use the white tape for?
I don't know.
The white tape is, I'm not sure I have a sick tortoise in the back. So what I do, I have a lot of tortoises. I take tape and I put it on that tortoise's shell. And then everybody knows, on the farm, I have 3 people working for me. That's an animal we're looking at. And I want to see the way it acts. I want to see the way it works. I want to see walks. I want to see, how it eats. And it's easier also to track it on my cameras because it's got that nice big white
Very
tape
cool.
on it.
Gotcha.
So that's part of being prepared, is how are we going to identify if something's wrong? Because sometimes when you take that animal out of an environment, you've lose the subtlety of maybe what was going on with it. You don't see it. Was it a limp? Was it he didn't eat or whatever? So sometimes I just like to put a tape on them just to follow them along and say, okay, there's something wrong, there's not something wrong.
Okay.
Cups. I keep these cups. The reason I keep these cups because I send my stuff to the lab. I do it on a microscope, but I also send stuff to the lab because the lab so they can find stuff that I can't find on the microscope.
Very good.
So collecting stool samples is part of being prepared to to determine if the animal is sick or not.
So
Part of being prepared, also I have some more, you'll find them in the videos, how to determine if your animal is sick, how to determine if you have a respiratory infection. People don't know, so people call me all the time. They think you have a respiratory infection. Well, you would be surprised how many people call me think they have a respiratory infection. They don't have a respiratory infection. And I've seen, you know, a wide range of what's wrong. And sometimes, a lot of times, it comes down to substrate. Aldabras, galops don't like dusty, dirty dust from mulch.
okay.
A lot of times they'll sneeze. They'll got something in their eyes. They make that little noise. Tick, tick, tick. It's a sneeze. That's what they're doing. Again, another video will be linked explaining that. But they're sneezing.
Well, let me ask you this. All right, so we've got a bevy of things here. Where can people go to watch your videos? Of course, on Instagram, they can check it out.
Those videos, because they're longer videos,
Better to go to
on
YouTube.
my YouTube channel.
Which is?
Which is FloridaIguana.com.
Okay, on YouTube.
On YouTube is, FloridaIguana.com.
Very cool.
You can also find it easy. It's Sam's Giant Tortoise Farm is the handle.
Okay.
So Sam's Giant Tortoise Farm. So don't forget also, we got so many people with sick alligators. They don't know what's wrong with them. One of the ways you tell what's wrong with them is...
Flash a light?
No.
What?
This is an X-ray machine.
Get out of here. It's a flashlight.
Yeah. Well, you haven't seen my video that shows you how to use this light on a baby tortoise where you can shine through his shell and see what his organs look like.
No way.
Absolutely. Because if you can shine this light through their shell,
Something's
which
wrong.
you'll see videos, you know you're dealing with metabolic bone disease. You know you're dealing with UV problems. If I take another tortoise and I try to shine this through their shell,
And there's
you
good
can't
density.
see.
Yeah.
So sometimes when you're looking at baby sulcata tortoise, you can look at the bottom of that shell. You actually can see, hey, there's a difference in color because the liver is dark. And you can always see that dark liver. When you're seeing that, the calcium isn't there in the shell. That's the reason why you got to have things like calcium. You can give them powder. You can actually inject them with calcium, and I also show that in my videos where to inject them.
I got to tell you, folks, I've learned a lot from Sam over the years. Whenever I have a problem with my animals, I call Sam. In fact, Sam was one of the first people I spoke to when Lapo got wounded. Of course, you should always have a good reptile vet nearby, but as you've seen from Sam and what he's showing us here, you can never be too prepared. So thank you very much. And guys, go check out his YouTube channel. It's very important. You'll learn just how I learned from the best. Been doing it a long time. All right, friends, that's it. That's all we got today.
It's a
it's
wrap
hot.
from the farm.
Yeah, it's hot.
Take
We
care,
gotta
folks.
hydrate ourselves.
Appreciate you stopping by.
Anytime, brother.
You and Kate.
Thank you, Kate.
Take care.
See you.